if we get it at a young age, the whole life is ahead to utilize it. Now I get this knowledge at the fag end. What is the use, right? I need it at a young age when I'm full of energy, full of life, and I need to take all my decisions because my whole life is ahead. But at any age, it is very good. So it's not like, oh, I'm old, now I'm getting it. No, don't worry. It's okay. Any age, it is very nice, just like a laddu. You eat it anywhere, it's very tasty. But the benefit is if we get it at a young age. So this is a book which has all the problems, which has a solution to all the problems of our life. And so, Einstein, he says, when I read the Bhagavad Gita and reflect about God, about how God created this universe, everything else seems so superfluous. So, a lot of people have told a lot of wonderful things about the Bhagavad Gita. Now, again, the question is, why should I study the Bhagavad Gita as it is? Because we are studying ISKCON's Bhagavad Gita as it is. I have the book over here. You can get a copy of the book, a hard copy, but it's not necessary that you have to get it. But if you're serious about life, then you should get a hard copy, but like nothing like a book where you can open the pages and feel it, online, of course, the material is there, so you can always have the e-resources, which are absolutely free. But if you're serious, this is very nice if you get a hard copy. Now, why do we study this Bhagavad Gita as it is? Because it is very important, because it comes via disciplinic succession, because there are so many editions of the Bhagavad Gita in the market. Now, if I have to get my daughter married, wouldn't I check who's the boy? What is he doing? What's his family? Everything. I want to check everything. Why? Because my daughter's life will get ruined. Now, this spiritual life is even more important, because even if it gets ruined, it's just one life. But if I don't get the right knowledge, not only this life, my future lives also will just go waste, because everything depends. Your spiritual life depends on your activity of today. What I do today, I'm going to reap it tomorrow. And if I ruin this life, who knows where I will be born today or tomorrow, what sort of a life I'll get, whether I'll be born as a dog or a cat, or I don't know which planet, which species, right? And then again, to get this message may be so difficult. So it's very important that we study this Bhagavad Gita as it is, because it's coming via disciplinic succession. All right. So you see, from Krishna, it is narrated to Brahma, there is Narada. So there is a disciplinic succession. So we follow this unbroken chain of disciplinic succession. We've come from the Madhva Gaudiya Parampara, and so there should be a disciplinic succession. Now, Gita is a vast book, and a systematic study will take a year. In fact, it's a life book, so it takes a lifetime to really understand Bhagavad Gita. So in the 18 days, what are we going to do? We're just going to focus on the flow of thoughts between Krishna and Arjuna. Okay. Now, this whole Bhagavad Gita was spoken in half an hour to 45 minutes. And Krishna spoke, Arjuna understood, right? So that's the caliber, that's the caliber of them. But we are very small. We are the small ant in the room. Our intelligence is very less. We cannot be that, right? So we are just trying to make an attempt to understand, okay, just the flow, the gist, the essence, so that we are interested to understand, go through a deeper study. And the temple offers the class for deeper studies, So we have a second level of Bhagavad Gita. We have the third level. There's so many classes that are going on, shloka by shloka. So that is for a very serious student. But right now, we're just going to go through the flow of thought between Krishna and Arjuna. Now, the mood of Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna is bewildered. Now, Arjuna is a great warrior. Why should he be bewildered? He's come under illusion. And that's because Krishna arranged. This Bhagavad Gita is actually not for Arjuna. Arjuna is a great devotee of Krishna. He knows everything. So for whom is this Bhagavad Gita? It's for us. Now, how does Krishna arrange that? He's great, right? Krishna knows everything. So he just confuses Arjuna a little bit, so that he's very bewildered. He's very confused. And because he is confused, Krishna is telling this Bhagavad Gita for whom? For us. This whole Bhagavad Gita is actually not meant for Arjuna. It's for us. It's for us so that we understand what Krishna says and we apply it. So Arjuna's bewilderment and appearance of the illusion must be understood to be Krishna's arrangement. If not for Arjuna's confusion and bewilderment, there would have been no necessity for Krishna to speak the Bhagavad Gita to rescue him. Although Arjuna is the apparent first listener of the Bhagavad Gita, it is for the benefit of everyone. So Arjuna's indecision, Krishna drove the chariot in the midst of both the armies. Arjuna was in difficulty in having to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. He surrendered to Sri Krishna, and consequently this Bhagavad Gita was spoken. So this is the arrangement. So every journey begins with a single step, and we begin our journey today. And so welcome to this class. And so before we begin, we listen to the Gita Mahatmya. So why should we understand the Bhagavad Gita? Just holding this Bhagavad Gita in a hand purifies us. Even if I don't read it, just by holding the Bhagavad Gita in my hand, it purifies. Just by listening to the Bhagavad Gita, we get purified. This whole place of ours, wherever you're sitting and listening, just by listening to Krishna's words, that atmosphere gets purified. We get purified. So that is the power of the Bhagavad Gita. So we are listening to the Gita Mahatmya, which is spoken by Adi Shankaracharya. Okay, so just a small this thing which is sung by one of our own devotees, Shobha Mataji. So I'll just play this for you just to understand how glorious this Bhagavad Gita is.
Atha Gita Mahatmya Gita Shastram Idam Punyam Ya Patet Trayata Puman Vishnu Padam Avapnoti Bhaya Shokadivarjita Gita Dhyayana Shilasya Pranayama Parasya Cha Naiva Santi Hi Papani Purva Janma Kritani Cha Mala Nirmochanam Pumsa Jalasnanam Dine Dine Sakrit Gitambhasi Snanam Samsara Malanashanam Gita Sugita Kartavya Kimmanye Shastra Vistare Ya Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padmadini Shrita Bharatamrita Sarvasvam Vishnur Vaktra Dvini Sritam Gita Gangodakam Pitva Punarjanma Navidyate Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandana Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantrastasya Namani Yani Karmapikam Tasya Devasya Siva.
So all the Upanishads are like a cow, and the milker of the cow is Lord Shri Krishna, the son of Nanda. Arjuna is the calf, the beautiful nectar of the Gita is the milk, and the fortunate devotees of fine theistic intellect are the drinkers and enjoyer of that milk. So this Krishna is famous as a cowherd boy, right? So all the Upanishads are like the cow, and this is the cream of all the, the essence of all the Upanishads and all the Vedic literature is there in the Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna is the famous milker, and the cow always gives milk when the calf is there. So Arjuna represents the calf, and this milk is the nectar of the Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna is complimenting all of us, all of you, because why? Not everyone is interested in Bhagavad Gita, right? So only the devotees of fine theistic intellect, okay? So only if you're very intelligent. In fact, to be a devotee is not easy, okay? You need a lot of punya, and you also will be very intelligent. This book is for the intelligent, okay? When you read the Bhagavad Gita, what will happen? You will become intelligent. Just like when you must have seen, in India, I don't know whether it's prevalent now. When we were small, we could see on the highway, if a truck is going and someone, even if a person in the bicycle just holds on to the truck, he gets the speed of the truck, right? So we can dovetail our intelligence if we just hold on to Krishna. So if you hold to Krishna's lotus feet, you also get the intelligence of Krishna. Okay, so to understand this message, we have to be very intelligent. We are not intelligent, but by Krishna's mercy, we also become very intelligent, and we'll be able to appreciate this message. This is not for the ordinary. Okay, this requires a lot of punya, it requires a lot of intelligence and Krishna's mercy. So we are very fortunate that we are going to begin this chapter of Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Arjuna's Yoga of Lamentation. So the first battlefield, first thing is, if you see the screen, the first thing is observing the battlefield. So if you want to understand what is the first chapter all about, in one line, it is observing the battlefield. Observing by whom? Three people. At the top, you have whom? This is the blind king. This is Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra is the blind king, and he's observing the battlefield. His reaction is different. And at the bottom, you have a son, Duryodhana. He's also seeing the battlefield, and his reaction is totally different. And then in the center, you have Arjuna, our hero, and he also sees the same battlefield, and his reaction is very different. Why is it different? It's because of the three different modes in which we are. So we are going to study about the modes of nature or Maya in the 14th chapter. But here itself, we come to understand. Suppose I'm in the tamasic mode. I'm like Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra is totally in the tamasic mode or in the mode of darkness. Now, in the mode of darkness, I am lethargic. I'm not intelligent. I can't understand anything. And I'm always very morose. I'm always complaining. Okay, so that is Dhritarashtra. And then Duryodhana is in the mode of rajas, in the mode of passion. And Arjuna is in the sattvic mode. Now, we study one by one. So when we see Dhritarashtra, what is Dhritarashtra? He's the blind king. So just Mataji, would you please read it?
Shall I do that, Mataji?
Yeah, please, yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Okay, go ahead.
Dhritarashtravacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kimakurvata Sanjaya. So the translation is, Dhritarashtra said, "O Sanjaya, after my sons and the son of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, during desiring to fight, what did they do?" So this is to understand first, how is this Dhritarashtra? This Dhritarashtra is blind, okay? Now, why is he blind? Because he's in the mode of ignorance. And if you see Dhritarashtra, he had everything in his life, okay? Just imagine he's born in this family of emperors. Now, till Parikshit Maharaj, the whole universe, this whole earth was under one rule. So he's part of that legacy, okay? He's part of that family which is ruling the whole earth. Not only that, he's got the good counsel of Vidura. He's got a beautiful and chaste wife, in his wife, Gandhari, of present Afghanistan, she's come from there, Gandhar. So she's Gandhari and supposed to be very beautiful, okay, and so chaste. And he has everything. He has all the riches, all the comforts, but whole life he's kept on complaining, I am blind, I am blind. It's a lesson for us. We should always thank what we have. Krishna always gives us more than we deserve, but we don't understand, right? And why is he blind? There's a story also. It's not that Krishna, he made this fellow blind and this fellow lame and this fellow very powerful. No, we have done, all our karmas. So this Dhritarashtra, in his previous birth, he had plucked the eye of a bird and killed its 100 children. So naturally, this man is blind. Okay, he's reaping the effects of his sinful action, and whole life is complaining. All right. And here is, so this is the scene of the Mahabharata, and the first shloka is spoken by Dhritarashtra, and he's asking Sanjaya that both my sons and the Pandavas have assembled in this holy place of Kurukshetra. So what are they? What did they do? So he's asking this question. So who is this Sanjaya? Sanjaya is his secretary, and he's blessed by Vedavyas, so that Sanjaya can sit in Hastinapur and see everything that is happening. Okay, so Sanjaya is sitting there and he can see the whole scene, and he's narrating the scene to Dhritarashtra. So now Dhritarashtra's questions are very interesting. He's asking, the first thing is that Dharma Kshetre. So what is Dharma Kshetra? Dharma Kshetra is Kurukshetra. He's very worried that this war is happening in Kurukshetra, and Kurukshetra is a holy place. It's a divine place, and a holy place has a good effect on divine people. So he's very worried. He knows Pandavas are spotless. They're virtuous. They are absolutely sinless. So he knows that somehow, since it's happening in Kurukshetra, these people will be favored. So he's very, very worried. Not only that, he's also worried, since it's happening in Kurukshetra, maybe these people will not fight at all. It's a holy place. So maybe my sons will not fight. And he does not want that. He is like lime. Okay, if you put lime in milk, what happens? It curdles, right? So when milk curdles, it splits up. So he wants to split the family. So Dharma Kshetra is like this boiling of milk.
when any auspicious activity, especially in the south, when you have a housewarming or something, they boil milk, right? So Kurukshetra is representing this holy place, very nice place. And this Dhritarashtra is actually wanting the sons to fight. Every father actually wants the children not to fight, okay, because these are all his own brother's children. So actually he is the caretaker. Even today, if the father dies, if the younger brother dies, the older brother takes care of the children of the younger brother. It's there, prevalent even today. But this man, he's actually wanting both the cousins to fight. And he's worried that because it is happening in Kurukshetra, maybe they will not fight. Okay. So he doesn't want to compromise. Every father wants a compromise. If children are fighting, they say, please don't fight. But here is a father who says, fight, fight. Okay. So fight, because he is very anxious. He wants this whole kingdom to come to his son. So he's asking Sanjaya, what did they do? So what will they do in a battlefield? What will anybody do? They will fight. So this doubt is still coming to his mind. What did they do? It's just like when you boil milk, with milk, you can actually make some nice rasgullas. And if you give someone some rasgulla, what will you ask? When you give them something, did you eat? I mean, naturally, if someone gives me a rasgulla, I will eat, right? So this doubt should not come. But still this doubt is coming to the mind of Dhritarashtra, that since it's happening in Kurukshetra, maybe my children may fight or may not fight. So he's very worried and he's asking this to Sanjaya. So this is the first thing, Dhritarashtra, his mind. Okay. So now the second character, that is Duryodhana. Now this is Duryodhana and this is his teacher, Dronacharya. So what is he asking? O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. So just to understand a little background, now this Duryodhana is in the Rajasic mode. He's full of passion. Okay, he wants name, fame, power. So he's very worried when he sees the battlefield, because he never expected the Pandavas to come up with such a big army, because these people, the Pandavas, were practically on the roads. Okay, see, they had this Agyatavas, they had Vanavas, everything he has given them. So these are poor beggars. Now, how can they have any contacts? Who will join their party, right? People on the road, who bothers about them? But somehow they have managed to get a huge army. Their army is 7 Akshayanis and the Kauravas are 11. So even though it's less, he never expected them to come up even with 7 Akshayanis. Not only that, it is arranged very nicely. You have this chakra views and all that, right? So this also is arranged very nicely. This phalanx, this army is arranged very nicely. By whom? Drupada. Who is Drupada now? Drupada is Dronacharya, son of Drupada. So Dronacharya had a misunderstanding with Drupada, and Drupada then did a sacrifice, and a huge sacrifice, to get a son just to kill Dronacharya. And the son's name was Drishtadumna. Now everyone knew Drishtadumna's aim in life is to kill Dronacharya. And when this Drishtadumna comes to learn warfare to Dronacharya, Dronacharya is a great teacher, a very learned Brahmin, and he does not refuse. He knows anyway, whoever is born has to die. So he says, let me do my duty. My duty is to teach a Kshatriya. So he teaches this warfare to Drishtadumna. Now the same Drishtadumna he has taught, and he has arranged this army of the Pandavas is so beautifully that this Dhritarashtra is very worried. So he's actually taking a dig at his teacher. He's insulting his teacher before the war starts, telling, see, you have been liberal earlier and you have made a big mistake by teaching Drishtadumna how to fight. And that Drishtadumna has now come up with such a beautiful army and he has arranged it so expertly just because of you. And now don't be more liberal. So he's warning Dronacharya, don't be liberal anymore, because you have taught the son of Drupada how to fight and he's become a problem for us. Now, is this a way? There's some background noise. So is this the way you treat your teacher? So Arjuna, before the war starts, he actually throws. I think we'll have to mute. I only can mute, or should co-host, can you mute people? Yeah, just can you mute? No, but then I can't make them co-host, right? Wait, I'll just mute all. Yeah. So before the war started, Arjuna he actually throws an arrow which falls at the feet of Dronacharya, symbolizing, I am taking your blessings, dear teacher, before I start the war. And Dronacharya again shoots an arrow which grazes above the head of Arjuna, saying that I bless you. And here, look at this person, the Duryodhana, he's insulting his guru before the war starts. So this is the mood of Duryodhana when he sees the army and when he sees the battlefield. He's very, very worried because he never expected the Pandavas to come up with such a powerful army to fight against him. So look at his eyes, full of anger, full of hate, full of jealousy. And then it is the blowing of the conch shells. Will you please recite?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Saghoshodhartarashtanam Hrudayani vyadharayat Nabhascha prithivim chaiva Tumulobhyanunadhayan.
The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious and thus vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of the Dhritarashtra. So now before the war starts, according to the Kshatriya etiquettes, it's not like, the guerrilla warfare that we fight now. You hide and you shoot, it's done openly and you blow the conch shells, right? So both the armies blow the conch shells. It starts with the Kauravas and then the Pandavas also blow the conch shell. Now, when the Kauravas were blowing the conch shells, nothing happens to the Pandavas. Okay, they're not scared. They listen to all that. But when the Pandavas blow the conch shell, it actually shatters the heart of the Dhritarashtra. So when Krishna is blowing the conch shell, they are scared. Okay, they are scared. So this is a very important lesson for us that, we all, we have been taught today in our schools and colleges, you work hard and you'll be successful. Not necessary. Okay, it's not necessary. And if you're in the path of evil, nobody's talking about good and evil, right? So nobody talks about dharma. So when you're not in the path of dharma, whatever you do, you are still scared. It's like us, when we do something wrong, even though people don't know, we don't feel comfortable. We don't have the confidence. We don't have the faith or, the guts or the courage to see people, and we can't sleep well. And why is that? Because there's something within us which says you've done wrong. So even the Kauravas, they're depending only on their own strength. So I can have the whole army of the world, but then if I am in the path of injustice, nothing can save me. And here the Pandavas have nothing. They have nothing other than the Lord, and they're depending only on Krishna. They're not depending on anybody. They're just depending. Arjuna may be the mightiest archer, the greatest archer of his time, everything, but he's not. He's only depending on the Lord. And this is a very important message for us, that we have to depend on Krishna. Krishna is the best well-wisher for us. And the Pandavas are depending totally on Krishna, and so they don't feel anything, whereas the Kauravas, their hearts are shattered. And see how beautiful this narration of Sanjaya is. He's sitting in Hastinapur, but he can still feel the psychic movements of the Kauravas. Today we watch a cricket match or something, and the commentator will not be able to tell, oh, he's scared, right? But here he can feel the vibrations also, Sanjaya, and he's telling their hearts are shattered. Now, there are 9 reasons why before the war starts, it's predicted that the Pandavas are going to win. Okay. So first reason is it's happening in Dharmashetra. Okay. So the Dharmashetra is Kurukshetra. So naturally, since it's happening in Dharmashetra, it will support the Pandavas. So Dharmashetra is happening. Not only that, Arjuna has this divine chariot, which is gifted by Agni, which is invincible. So it's invincible. So naturally, he's going to win. Then Kapidwaja. If you see the flag, there is Hanuman on the flag. Now, the same Hanuman fought for the same Lord Ram, and he was victorious. And the same Lord Ram is here in the form of Krishna, and Arjuna is fighting for Krishna. So naturally, when Hanuman is there, there's going to be victory because he was victorious earlier also. So there is Kapidwaja. And then there is Shankanada. What is Shankanada? When the blowing of the conch shells, the hearts of the Kauravas shattered. So this is already told that because they were scared, they will lose. It is said, right? Jo dar gaya, wo mar gaya. So the Kauravas were scared before the war started itself, right? So naturally, they're not going to perform to the best of their ability. Not only that, Arjuna had this famous bow, Gandiva, which is invincible. And he also had Pashupastra Astra, which is gifted to him by Lord Shiva. So not only that, he had so many divine weapons. So he is invincible, right? So Arjuna. Not only that, Duryodhana said this, Tyakta Jivita means a bad omen. So what does he do? Tyakta Jivita means, he tells something which should not be told. Who? Duryodhana. So before the war started, Duryodhana said, all these people are ready to die for me. When he looked at his army, he said, just to boost the confidence of everyone, he said, oh, I have all these mighty warriors who are ready to die for me. Now, it's a bad omen because when you say these people are ready to die for me, who dies in the battlefield? The one who loses, right? So if you're telling they're going to die before the war starts, you're already predicting your defeat. So it's a bad omen, all right? So it's a bad omen which he unconsciously tells. So it's a small thing, but still it is relevant because it shows that, they are going to lose. And then it was fought on Mokshada Ekadashi. Now, Ekadashi is a very, very pure day. It's a very auspicious day, okay? Because the planetary constellation, all the arrangement is so beautifully arranged. And most important, it is the day of the Lord, okay? We keep Ekadashi to please the Lord. We keep Ekadashi to please Krishna. And it is on this auspicious day that the war is fought. So it's fought on Mokshada Ekadashi. So another reason why they're going to win. Not only that, wherever Krishna is there, wherever Narayana is there, Lakshmi is there. So Bhagya Lakshmi is there on the side of the Pandavas. And most important, Rishikesha. So Krishna is present. So wherever Krishna is present, there has to be victory. So with all these 9 reasons, Dharmashetra, because it is Kurukshetra, divine chariot, which is given by Agni, Kapidwaja, because there's Hanuman on the flag, and the same Hanuman was victorious when he was fighting for Lord Ram, and same Lord Ram is there in the form of Krishna, so naturally he's going to win again. Shankanada, that is the blowing of the conch shells, and the hearts of the Kauravas were shattered, and Arjuna has this Gandiva and Pashupastra, so naturally he's invincible. And Duryodhana says this bad omen, all these people are ready to die for me. So that is a bad omen, Tyakta Jivita, ready to die for me. And Mokshada Ekadashi fought on this very auspicious day. And wherever there is Krishna, Lakshmi is there. And wherever there is Krishna, there is victory. So most important reason is because Krishna is there. So wherever Krishna is there, we don't have to be scared. All our lives, we are so scared. We are scared because we don't have Krishna. The moment we invite Krishna to our lives, all the fear goes away. And now we look at Arjuna, our hero. Look at Arjuna, greatest warrior, having Krishna by his side, has tears in his eyes. Now, why is this tear? These tears are because of compassion. So he's in the sattvic mode, in the mode of goodness. Now, in the sattvic mode, we feel compassion. Okay, we feel, oh my God, it's not about me, it's about everyone. What is the use of fighting this battle for this kingdom for which so many people are going to lose their lives? So he's very, very compassionate. Okay, he's feeling compassion for all the kinsmen, everyone who's present over there. And not only that, he also has this reason of no enjoyment. Now, this is there. See, all the shlokas, let me just tell you, this is Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, 28th shloka. Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, 31st shloka. Okay, so he says no enjoyment. Now, if I win the war, what is the enjoyment? I get the kingdom, but then at what cost? All my, my grandfather, my teacher, my fathers-in-law, brothers-in-law, all these army, all these friends, everyone is dead. So at what cost am I enjoying? So no, not with blood in my hands. So there's no enjoyment. Not only that, it is sinful because you're killing all these people. For what reason? Just for a throne. So it is sin. So killing all these people for just your own pleasure, that is sinful, Krishna. So it's not possible. I'm not ready to fight. Not only that, you're killing all these animals also because there's so many elephants and horses and everything on the battlefield. And everyone is going to lose their lives. So it's very, very sinful, Krishna. Not only that, family traditions. Now, Arjuna is so bothered. He's not bothered about himself. If you see Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, they're only bothered about themselves. Here is Arjuna telling family traditions. He's looking at the future. He's telling family traditions will be lost because you will not have trained population. Right now, the problem in Kali Yuga, the problem in this present world is that we have a lot of population, but we are not trained. Untrained population is a nuisance. When people are trained, they are our assets. But if you have people who are not trained, you can just imagine the sort of havoc they can create. Even if you have a dog and the dog is not trained, it becomes a nuisance. Just imagine a human being with so much of intelligence and not trained. Don't we see so much of misery? I mean, look at this corona itself, I mean, who would think of this, right? So untrained population. So he says all these family traditions will be lost because all the fathers are going to die, all the elders are going to die, who are going to train the younger generation. So he's very bothered about the family traditions being lost. And finally, he has got indecision. So he's indecisive. So should I fight or should I not fight? In fact, I do not want to fight. So he has all these reasons for not wanting to fight. So look at these. So which can you relate to? Because all of it looks so convincing, right? Yes, compassion, no enjoyment, sin, family traditions, and indecision. So these are the reasons of Arjuna not wanting to fight. So we end. It starts with the Dhritarashtra's inquiry. So he's asking Kim Akurvata, what did they do, Sanjaya? My sons and the Pandavas, they were assembled in Kurukshetra. So what are they doing? What did they do? And Duryodhana is very, very scared when he looks at the mighty army, and he's very scared looking at the armies of the Pandavas, because he never expected them to come up with a strong army. And then the conch shells are blown and the hearts of the Kauravas sink. Okay. And then finally Arjuna observes and he says, my Gandiva is slipping from my arms. Okay. His Gandiva is slipping. And Arjuna says, finally, he gives 5 reasons for not wanting to fight. And he also says, a praktikaram, a shastram. He says, I will not fight even if they shoot. So in Kshatriya etiquette, you don't fight if the opposite person does not have arms or is not willing to fight. So you don't just fight with someone who's not wanting to fight. But he says, even if they kill me in this state where I don't want to fight and I'm not taking up any bows, it's fine. I don't want to fight. So with this, we end the first chapter. And tomorrow's chapter is very interesting because actually the Bhagavad Gita starts tomorrow because Krishna has not yet opened his mouth. In the whole of the first chapter, Krishna is silent. He's just listening to all that Arjuna has to say. Okay. And in the second chapter, Krishna is going to smash all the 5 reasons of Arjuna. So the Bhagavad Gita technically starts from the second chapter. Then why is the first chapter important? The first chapter is very important only because Krishna is present. Even though Krishna has not opened a word, Krishna is present. And because Krishna is present, the first chapter is so important for us. So we are now open to questions. So we will go on till maybe 7:15 or 7:30. And you can raise your hand for the questions. And Mataji will take the Q&A. And you can also type your questions if you require. Huh? Mataji, taking the questions?
Yes, Mataji. Gopal Krishna.
And we'll restrict our Q&A to the chapter that we have done. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. My first question, I only have one question. So what are you spoke about the 3 gunas, right? Rajas, Tapas and Satvik.
Yeah.
Can you delve on that a little bit more? It was very interesting to know that the same scenario is being seen by the 3 different people in different ways.
Yes.
Please elaborate a little more, please.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, anyway, this is going to be dealt. Actually, no, this is called Maya. Okay. And this is going to be covered in the 14th chapter in depth. But this is just to understand. See, we are all, why are we, don't we see so much of variety in the world? I mean, all of us are so different. Now, why are we so different? Because we are in different modes. We could be in the mode of passion. We could be in the mode of ignorance or in the mode of goodness. Not only that, so it's not like only 3 types of people are there. We could be different permutation and combination of the 3. For example, I could be 50% sattva, 25% rajasic, and 25% tamasic. So my behavior is going to be quite different. Whereas someone who's 90% something, 5% something, 5% something could be totally different. So that is the beautiful combination that we are all in, and that is called Maya. So what is this Maya basically? Maya is something which is like a glass. Now, if I can't see the sun because of the glass that I wear. So in the lowest platform, in the mode of ignorance, the covering is very strong. So the Maya is covering us so deep that I can't see Krishna at all. Okay, so I'm totally dull. I'm totally lethargic, basically in the animalistic platform. And when I'm a little bit better, I am in the mode of passion. So the glass is still there, but the clarity is a little bit more. And in the sattvic mode, the clarity is even more brighter. But actually in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells us later on in the 14th chapter, come out. Don't even be in the sattvic mode. Come out to the spiritual mode. But the topmost that we can be in the material world is the sattvic mode, which Arjuna is. But even though he's in the sattvic mode, he's in problem, right? So he's not in the spiritual mode. So actually Krishna is trying to lift us up. So basically tamasic mode is the mode of ignorance. Ignorance means I am dull, I am lethargic, I can't act, I can't think. I'm basically in the animal mode, okay, animalistic platform. Animals are, the lowest species are in the tamasic mode, but for them there is no problem because that's the way they are because of their karmas. So they're born like that. I mean, I could become an animal if I lead my life as an animal in the human form. Krishna says, oh, as a human, you wasted your life, become an animal, because you have led a tamasic life and the mode of ignorance. So the lowest is tamasic. Still better is Rajasic, because Rajasic means you're active. Like Duryodhana, he's very active. He's building his army, he's talking to his teacher, he's doing this, he's doing that. Very active, but for what? For his own sense gratification. So what is making you active is pleasure. You want pleasure, you want name, you want fame. So it is good. It is good because it is better than the tamasic platform, because tamasic fellow is just sleeping. This fellow at least is doing something, right? But for his own sense gratification, which is pleasurable in the beginning, but painful in the end. And the topmost is sattvic. Sattvic is you do some activity, but not for your own sense gratification, but looking at the larger picture. Like Arjuna, he's not wanting to fight the war because he's thinking about everybody. He's thinking about the sin that he's going to incur. He's thinking about the family traditions. He's thinking about the future generations. So much of thought goes into it. But so that is a sattvic mode, which is topmost, because you're no longer thinking only about you. You want to do your duty. And duty means not about me. Some duties are very painful. For example, getting up in the morning, going to the office, pretty painful. But no, it's my duty I have to do. Sometimes I may have a presentation which I have to do even on a Sunday. I can't say, oh, it's a Sunday, so I'm not going to do. No, you still do it, right? So that a person in the sattvic mode does his duty very, very well. But the Bhagavad Gita is actually in the spiritual platform, because even this being in the sattvic platform could be problematic, because Arjuna now, even though sattvic is not wanting to do, right? His duty. So Krishna actually tells us to come to the spiritual platform. And this will be dealt in every chapter, Prabhu. So, this is going to be revealed the more and more we sit, because this is a book of knowledge. It is not like people say, oh, this is mythology and something. No, it's not mythology. What people talk about, that is mythology. This is reality, which we can apply in our lives. So this is the thing, Prabhu. So I've just given a little bit of it, but this will be dealt more and more. So you will get it more. The picture becomes more clear as we go into the next chapters.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Mataji, can you let Purnima Mataji co-host?
Say again?
Purnima Mataji co-host.
Okay, just one sec. You can actually type your questions also, anyone, one sec. Yeah, I've made her the co-host.
Mataji, there is a question on the chat box.
Huh?
A doubt on the practical plane. Did the opposite army do nothing while BG was being imparted?
Yeah, both the parties. In fact, this dialogue is between Krishna and Arjuna. So both the parties. Here is the Pandava party and here is the Kaurava party. And both of us are there. And both of them are silent. They're not doing anything. See, that is the sort of level in which people were there. Look at us today. We are so impatient. Even with 1 minute's delay here and there, we get so restless. Here is a battlefield, and people are just listening. People are just listening to. They're not listening. They know there's a conversation, and they know it's very important, because nobody would be sitting and talking some gupshup. It's not some Grameen Katha that people are that they're talking. So it must be very serious. So even though they can't hear, they're silent. So that is the quality of people that were there. Even though the Kauravas, we say, oh, Kauravas, even the Kauravas, they had the etiquettes, and the Pandavas, so even though it's happening in the midst of the battlefield, both the parties are very silent, and they know something important is happening, and nobody's fighting.
Mataji, there's one more question in the chat. Did Krishna stop time while narrating Bhagavad Gita?
No, Krishna did not stop time, so because see, the whole thing happened within half an hour, right? So people were there, they were listening to it, but he did not stop time. they were patiently, knowing that something is happening, and yeah.
Devotees, you can raise your hand if you have more questions. Or you can also put your question in the chat.
I think maybe the questions will come a little later. Also, we are, we have 18 days, so you don't worry, and this thing, yeah.
Okay, there's one more question, Mataji. How much time did Krishna take to explain Gita?
Roughly around half an hour to 45 minutes. It's 700 shlokas. And so that's the time that is recorded. That's the time that they took to narrate the Bhagavad Gita.
The next question from Aditya Mohan. Mataji, who all were listening to Bhagavad Gita?
So there was Arjuna and Krishna in the battlefield, and Sanjaya could hear it, and he was narrating it to Dhritarashtra. So it's very important, see, this whole Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna also heard, Dhritarashtra also heard. Dhritarashtra could not understand a word, right? Because, if you're in that mood, when you do not understand who is Krishna, and you do not have value for the Lord, this is just like, water which will just flow off, you hear it from one ear and it just goes out. So we have to be in the mood of Arjuna to understand the Bhagavad Gita. But even yes, so these 4 people could hear it. Yeah.
There is one more question. If Lord Krishna is supreme, why is the incarnation of Lord Narayana?
So, okay, so this we will deal later on. It will come again. See, in the Goloka chart, we will be, Krishna explains how, the different planets, because we don't know, we think, oh, heaven is the ultimate, because heaven is also coming under the material world. And higher to heaven, there are the spiritual abodes, okay? And then the topmost, there is Vaikuntha, where Narayana is there. And higher than Vaikuntha is Goloka. So this will be explained in the Goloka chart. But just for this thing, understanding, Goloka is the topmost, where Krishna dwells. Okay, so Krishna, where is Krishna? Krishna tells in the chapters, where is he? He's present in the heart of every living entity. He's present in the heart of he's there in every atom, right? So he's there in the living and the non-living. He's present everywhere. But he's also present in his personal form in Goloka as Krishna, and he's also his expansion is Narayana. Okay, so Krishna's expansion is Narayana. All right, so that is what we understand from the scriptures. So Krishna expands. Krishna expands into Balram, who expands to Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Vasudev, and Sankarshna. And then the next expansion is Narayana. So Narayana is there in Vaikuntha. Okay, so and also it's so one of the expansions of the Lord is Vaikuntha, is Narayana.
There is a question from Smita Kadoji. Hare Krishna Mataji, for reciting Gita, is knowing Sanskrit important?
Devika Mataji is there, so she will explain, better. Devika Mataji, please tell. You narrated the Bhagavad Gita, so do you know Sanskrit?
No, Mataji, it is not really needed. We should know how to. Okay, there is a chart to pronounce the English version of shlokas. So you need not to know Sanskrit. But in fact, when you start learning Bhagavad Gita, you will get to know a little bit of Sanskrit. Yeah, that is possible. Yeah.
And also, if you see the Bhagavad Gita book, no, see every word, right? See, if you see Dharma Kshetra, Dhritarashtra Vacha. So it is written in English also, Dhritarashtra Vacha. So even though it's written in Sanskrit, then there is an English translation also. And each word is split. So that way you can actually understand. You can read it. It's very easy, because whichever language, for example, if I wanted in Tamil or Gujarati, then, I can read this thing also. It's written in that. So you can read it and you can tell it, it's easy. And it's basically for us Indians, it's very easy because all our languages are basically, based out of Sanskrit. So whichever language, even if I don't know Sanskrit, I can read that language and somewhere, I can read it out. So, yeah.
And Mataji, in the Sanskrit, in that book, Bhagavad Gita, as it is given how to pronounce those words, no?
Yeah.
So it will be easy for foreigners also, they are able to read it.
Yes.
Okay. Gopal Krishna Prabhu, you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna Mata.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Since Krishna's birth, Bhagavan made sure that he did all his leelas. he did so many leelas that maybe he has not done in any of his avatars. It's a blessing to just hear about those leelas. I mean, we get goosebumps that Lord Krishna has performed so many leelas. But how come Kauravas and even in some instances Pandavas were so ignorant that having the Lord amidst them, and even when Lord tried to calm them down and not have a battle, avoid a battle, how come they did not or could not avoid it? Was it pure Maya that took them over? Or was it all a part of a grand strategy that this was to take place?
You're talking about the war, and why did they not stop the war? Your question is, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. I mean, how could they not recognize? I mean, they are, of course, even the Kauravas and the Pandavas must be far beyond our understanding of. I mean, we are in
Yeah.
Kali
Yes,
Yuga, so
yes.
we can't even think about how great they would be. Even the way you explain, the Kauravas would have been great warriors. Just
Yes.
that the Maya, the amount of guna that they had was bad. So my
Yeah.
question is, Mataji, how they could not recognize the supreme
Yeah.
godhood?
The Pandavas, they always knew who is Krishna. They always knew the supreme position of the Lord. Only during this battlefield, Arjuna was bewildered. That's the only thing. Okay. So that's one thing, because they always knew Krishna. They always understood Krishna's supreme position. But see, this is the beauty of the Lord. Like you very rightly said, Krishna has shown unlimited leelas. I mean, look at Krishna lifting the Govardhan. He's a small boy and he's lifting the hill with the tip of his, this little finger. That's the weakest finger, right? So it actually, no law, no law of science can actually justify, how can one, and that Govardhan is 27 kilometers long. So how can someone do that? So, every act of Krishna is, unparalleled. So the devotees always understood, but the non-devotees would never understand. Even today, like people like Kauravas, like we will think, oh, who is Krishna? What is he? He's a politician, he's this thing and that thing, right? So, when you don't want to understand because of and that's very unfortunate because of our karmas. We are in such a platform that even after seeing it, we don't understand it. So that is because of the karmas, and so much of papa is there that you cannot understand the supreme position of the Lord. Now, the Pandavas, they could understand Krishna's supreme position at every aspect. But there is one more thing that Krishna does. What this Krishna does is, this Krishna removes this awe and reverence from his, when he has this pastimes with his devotees, he removes the relation of awe and reverence. Now, when he showed the this thing, he showed the mini Vishwarupa to his mother Yashoda mother when he was eating mud. See, she opened his mouth and she could see the whole earth, the whole universe inside. She could see herself and she could see Krishna. When she sees that, she's bewildered. Suddenly, she's that Vatsalya rasa is stopped. Okay, she is not comfortable. So Krishna again does this thing so that she forgets, and she suddenly again takes Krishna and then hugs him or beats him. She does that because otherwise you can't have this intimacy. So with Krishna, as we study, Krishna does this with his pure devotees. He removes this relation of awe and reverence. Okay, so when Arjuna, he knows Krishna as his friend. Now, if you know the Lord is your friend, how can you then talk to you as a friend, right? How can you make him your chariot driver? So that is the mercy of the Lord, that when you have a relation with the Lord, you can have 5 relations. You can have the Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, and Vatsalya, Madhurya, Vatsalya and Madhurya. So you can have the, these 5 relations without awe and reverence. So that is what Krishna does. Krishna removes this relation of awe and reverence, and he hides himself so that you do not know he is God. Because the moment you know he is God, you cannot have this beautiful intimate relation. So if Arjuna knows, he knows it, but somehow Krishna also makes him forget. So that's why he can be his chariot driver. If Krishna comes to our house, what will we do? We wouldn't know how to handle him, right? So Krishna removes that so that he can have this very intimate pastimes. With the Gopa boys, they know Krishna is great because he's killing, but he removes this, he hides himself so that that relation of God is removed, right? So that they can actually enjoy this beautiful relation with him without awe and reverence. When you go to Narayana, there's always a relation of awe and reverence. So if you go to Vaikuntha, it's very beautiful, but you can only be his servitor. You can have Shanta and Dasya. But if you go to Goloka with Krishna, any relation that you have, we need not go to Goloka. Wherever you are, you can have these 5 relations without awe and reverence. So that is Krishna's mercy, actually. Like you very rightly said, Krishna does removes, he makes you forget that he's God. Otherwise, Mother Yashoda, what can she take care of Krishna? He has to take care of everyone. He takes care of everyone. But he hides that, right? He hides himself. He's actually just purchased by the devotees, right? So the devotees then, just handle him the way they want to handle him. And Krishna allows that.
Purnima Mataji, are you there? You can take questions. Okay, Mataji, there's few more questions in the chat. What all habits come under tamas, rajas, sattvi? Please elaborate.
So that we'll deal with later, because basically tamas, tamasic is you do only sinful activities. So what is it? Meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. All right. So these are very sinful activities. So when we do these sinful activities, it lowers our consciousness. And when it lowers our consciousness, we become more and more animalistic. So these are the sinful activities that tamasic people do, or in the tamasic platform that people do. And in the sattvic, we are doing only the service of the Lord. We start off, we do that. And rajasic is in between. So tamasic is totally darkness, sattvic is brightness, and rajasic is in between. So rajasic person is not doing sinful activities but thinking of sinful activities. As a result, the mind is harassed. In a tamasic person, mind is harassed, body is harassed. In the rajasic person, the mind is harassed, body is not harassed, because you're not actually doing. And in the sattvic person, you are very peaceful. Why? Because you're not even thinking and not even doing sinful activities. So based on our sinful activities, we are actually degrading ourselves or elevating ourselves. So then how do I come out? Because if I am suppose I'm a drug addict. Now, how can I come out? It's very difficult. If I'm drinking, how do I come out? It's very difficult. Just by chanting the names of Krishna. When you chant the holy names of the Lord, we are actually able to come out of our sinful activity. It is very difficult. It's otherwise very difficult by our own endeavor. Nobody wants to drink, right? Nobody. If you ask any drunkard, do you want to drink today? No, I don't want, but somehow I'm forced to. I'm forced to. My senses are harassing me and I'm forced to do that. So just by listening to Bhagavad Gita, just by chanting the names of the Lord, when we chant the names of the Lord, when we chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I may be in the totally tamasic platform. I could be the most sinful person, but somehow the names are so powerful that it actually just brings me up. Not only to the sattvic platform, it actually takes me to the spiritual platform. So that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the holy names of the Lord. That's the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. Just by listening, we can actually come out.
Mataji, the next question is, BG was revealed in which language?
Which one?
Bhagavad Gita
in Sanskrit. Sanskrit. That's the language that they spoke in those days, right? It is in Sanskrit, yeah.
After hearing Gita, did Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya get moksha or go to Goloka?
See, everyone, whoever died in the battlefield, they all got liberated. That's the mercy of Lord. When you die in the hands of the Lord, in the presence of the Lord, all the Kauravas, everybody, okay? So they did that. But to go to Goloka is very special. Why? Because there you have to have a relation with Krishna. Okay, we can't go to Goloka just like that. Giving moksha and all is very simple. Okay, that is not a big deal. But what is Goloka? Goloka is you have this very intimate relation with the Lord. You can be Krishna's pet, that is Shanta. You can be Krishna's pet. For example, we also have these relations over here. We keep dogs, cats, because we have it. Why? Because we have actually come from the spiritual world. There is a relation of, keeping pets. You can be a pet of Krishna. You can be Krishna's servant. You can be Krishna's friend. You can be Krishna's parent, or you can be Krishna's lover. So these are the 5 relations that we also have here. If you see, these are the relations that we are also having on this earth. But here it is inverted. It is not spiritual, it is material. So we are not enjoying. So these people, they definitely got moksha. It's not that. But if you don't have this intimacy, you can't have this relation. So only the devotees get to go to Goloka, where they can continue this relation. So if you don't have this relation, when you don't develop this relation on this earth, you can't continue it there, right? So what will we do if we go there? I want to enjoy my own senses. So Krishna says, why to be here itself? So they got moksha. So it's not that people didn't get moksha. Everyone got moksha. But to go to Goloka, it was very special. So only the intimate devotees, already who were devotees, they only went to Goloka, not everyone, not Dhritarashtra.
Okay, there's a question from Manoj P. Do we lose something in translation when we listen or learn Bhagavad Gita in English?
See, when we learn in English, Prabhupada, that's why we're listening to the Parampara, right? Prabhupada has translated it. Now, how much I understand is not how much Arjuna understands. Why? Because my consciousness is different than that of Arjuna. I will understand what is there in my head as I see that in which level I am. That is what I will understand, right? So then nothing is lost in the translation. When we read a book by Acharya, when Prabhupada is translated it word to word, that's why we have to read from a parampara. There are 4 bona fide paramparas. There's so this is one of the paramparas. We have the Brahma Gaudiya parampara, and it has to come via disciplinic succession. So when we read it via disciplinic succession, there is nothing wrong. There is nothing, no meaning is lost. But my understanding will be something different from someone else's understanding, because I will understand as per my capacity, as much as I am purified. Arjuna understood it in totality. We don't understand it the way Arjuna did. Arjuna just heard it for half an hour, he surrendered. We don't even surrender. We listen to the whole of Bhagavad Gita lifetime and we don't surrender the way Arjuna did, right? That is because of our different states. Arjuna is a pure devotee. His understanding is very different. So nothing is lost in the translation. It is we become barriers. Our mind becomes a barrier, because I can only absorb as much as is my capacity. Now, if I have my capacity is only this much, how much will I understand? Only that much, right? So that is it. But in the translation, no, nothing is lost.
Okay, there's one more question, Mataji. Why did not Krishna fight the war and chose to be a driver of a chariot? Isn't it a passive attitude by him?
Yeah, he is the Lord, right? Everyone is his children. And he chose not to fight. Krishna, what can you do? Right? So Krishna chose not to fight. That is Krishna's will for not wanting to fight, right? So that is what. But he's not passive. If you see the chariot everywhere, before the war, Krishna tried to do this peace treaty, everything he did. But in the battlefield, he said, I'm not going to fight. That's about it. But in the battlefield also, look at Krishna. He was not passive at all. This chariot was the focus of attention of everybody. And Krishna is there. We later understand. Actually, Krishna himself has killed all the warriors, because Arjuna, during the Vishwarupa, Krishna tells, I have killed everyone. So you just become an instrument in my hands, because even if you fight or you don't fight, they are killed. Nobody is going to go alive. So Krishna chose. So we don't understand that. So Krishna's will is there. So Krishna's will is there. And what Krishna wills, why does he will? We are very small. We don't understand. So Krishna will not to fight basically, but by his will, he has decided to kill everyone. And Arjuna is just a medium of killing, because otherwise also Krishna says, even if you don't fight, they have already killed. And he shows them, he shows him the future where everyone is slain. He says, I have killed everyone. Okay. So if you want to do your duty and to follow my instructions, do it. But even if you don't do it, nobody is going to go alive. So Krishna chooses what he wants. We don't understand why Krishna does what, right? And he has got total freedom. We don't have freedom. We don't have freedom. We are small jivas. I am forced to do things, right? Based on my guna and my karma. Krishna is spiritual. He's the Lord. So he chooses not to fight, and he fights also. So we don't understand what is that. Yeah. So is it all, Mataji? So we can maybe end?
Sorry. Apurnima Mataji, you want to take it?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji, why this question is from Mrudula. Mataji, why did Krishna kill Shishupala?
See, I don't know the intricacies of the Mahabharata, because we're just restricting to Bhagavad Gita. But Shishupal, because he's demoniac, he kept on insulting Krishna, right? And Krishna chose to forgive him. Last he kills him, because these are all demonic people. Okay, Krishna says, I've come to this earth to kill the demons, right? And to give protection to the devotees. So he's insulting Krishna. Krishna keeps leaving. Okay, forget it. Finally, miscreants have to be like the police has to catch the criminals. So Krishna also, when these people, they are they're a burden to society, just kills them. Yeah.
Mataji, this question is from Sarbani Bose. Mataji, after Mahavishnu's expansion, what are the expansions more further?
Yeah, so Krishna, he expands to Narayana. Narayana again expands to Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudev. And then the expansion is Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu, then, from his pores, multiple universes are created. And then Mahavishnu, then there is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who enters into the planet. Each and every Mahavishnu expands to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then Garbhodakshaya Vishnu expands to Shirodakshaya Vishnu. Now, Shirodakshaya Vishnu is present in every atom. and every living entity. And through him, actually, we see the incarnation. He's the medium through which all the incarnations come out. But when Krishna comes, he comes independently. He comes just like he is. He's there in Goloka and he just comes to earth. Just like, for example, I'm in Delhi. And then I come to Mangalore. So it's not that when I come to Mangalore, I'm born in Mangalore. From Delhi, I've come to Mangalore. So Krishna, through Shirodakshaya Vishnu, it's through Shirodakshaya Vishnu is the Vishnu from whom all the incarnations actually emanate. And but when Krishna comes, he personally comes. So basically, there are three Vishnus. There is Mahavishnu, there is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and there is Shirodakshaya Vishnu. Yeah.
Mataji, this question from Yogesh Prabhuji. What happened to the Pandavas after the battle? Did they live peacefully?
Yeah, they lived peacefully. They had a beautiful this thing, ruling means responsibility. So they ruled for a very long time, and then finally they hand it over. Then there is Parikshit Maharaj who actually takes it over. So yes. So that was a very nice reign. When Yudhishthir Maharaj became the king, it was very nice. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, this question is from Arnav Prabhuji. Mataji, can you elaborate more on why Kurukshetra is called Dharmakshetra?
Kurukshetra, basically, see, this Kuru, is a king, okay? So actually, these Pandavas are also Kauravas. Because why? It is not only these Kauravas are Kauravas, even the Pandavas are Kauravas. But this Dhritarashtra, so sinful man, he wants to separate because Kuru is a great king, okay? So so their lineage is coming from the great king Kuru, okay? And so they're all Kauravas actually. But this fellow, this Dhritarashtra is telling, no, my sons are only Kauravas, and these Pandavas are Pandu's sons, but even their lineage is going back to King Kuru. So he did a great, a lot of sacrifice and all this austerity in this place called Kurukshetra. So that's why it's a very holy place.
Mataji, the question from Rachna Mataji, will we get to read about Vishnu and the expansion in Bhagavad Gita?
We actually, this is not explained, but in the Goloka chart, later on, Krishna is talking about the different planetary systems. So that time, the Goloka chart will be explained because that is there in the other scriptures, okay? In the Srimad Bhagavatam and all, it is there. So it will be just explained just to understand the different positions, because right now we are so confused because we think, oh, this is God, that is also God. Who is God then? And where is God? God is in heaven. Is there, because Krishna is telling heaven is also material. Then above heaven, what is there? So that's just to understand that. So yes, it will be explained later. In the Goloka chart. So, you just have to stay for some time. So actually, most of the questions that we have, they'll all be answered. So you don't have to really worry. So all these are really taken care of as we proceed into the class.
Yes, Mataji, we have one more question from Raghav Prabhuji.
Can we keep that as the last question? Because you know what, I'll have to stop.
Yes.
I have college to go to, so that's the only thing,
Yes, Mataji.
And for further questions, we can always take it in the next class,
Yeah. Yes, Mataji. Mataji, this question is, Lord Krishna is considered to be the supreme. What about the other religion gods?
Yeah, so you know what, it's very nice. It's a nice question that you're proposing, because that thought always comes to us, right? So we are telling Krishna is God and someone is telling someone else is God. But if you really observe, everyone is told, see, Krishna is telling later on, he says, I am God. Okay, so no one is told I am God. If you see, okay, Christianity, Jesus said, I am the son of God, right? And Krishna is telling we're all Krishna's children, right? So Jesus also never said I'm God. Then the prophet said, I am the messenger of God. So no religion is told I am God. So they don't know who is God. So they know there is God, but who is this God? So that's why we are so fortunate that we are part of this Vedic knowledge where the Lord reveals himself. The Lord is telling, okay, some are telling he's God, some are telling he's Allah. So, okay, and we are also telling he's Bhagwan. Now, who is Bhagwan? Okay, who is Bhagwan? Who is God then? Okay, there is a God. So who is God? No scriptures in the world is able to tell that except in the Vedic literature. Because Krishna tells, I am God. What's your name? My name is Krishna. Who is your father? My father. He tells his father's name, his mother's name, his names of his friends. Where does he stay? What does he eat? What is his pastime? Where does he stay? I stay in Goloka. Okay. So all these Krishna, so the, it's revealing. So this Vedic knowledge is very, very advanced, because every religion tells about God, but here the depth. So the formula is there, but here the full explanation, okay, about God. Okay, if God is there, what's his name? For example, if I call Purnima Mataji Indian or human being, right? No, because she is a human being. So that much only is revealed here. But if I say Purnima Mataji, she'll understand it. I'm talking to her. So she's not only a human being, she also has a name. So Krishna, God is there. Yes. What is God? How does he look? What's his name? What's his name? What's his intimate pastime? Everything is revealed. So why is it revealed in the Vedic knowledge and not in the other scriptures? Why? Because time and place. Okay. See, the understanding is different in different times and place. As much as is required, only that much. So all religions lead us towards God. That is right, but towards God. But all religions do not lead us to God. For example, Goloka example I'm just giving is 100 kilometers. Suppose it is 100 kilometers from my place. Some religions are taking me to 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers. That's all. Vedic literature is taking me all the way. This is your direction. Like you put on a Google map, there, turn left, turn right, do this, do that, and there you are. So that is what. That is why the Vedic knowledge, because in depth it is written. Okay. Why is not it given in depth over there? Time and place, different understanding. For example, if a Nobel laureate comes to a city, okay, where will you take him? Will you take him to the fish market? Will you take him to the mall? Or will you take him to some very prestigious college? Naturally to a prestigious college, because what he is telling can be understood only by those intellects. So that is why Krishna reveals himself in this Vedic knowledge, because there's a class of people who can understand. This Vedic knowledge cannot be understood by everybody. But can I not read it? Yes, you can. Who cannot attend this Bhagavad Gita? Everyone can. This is publicly discussed. We are not doing it in, we are doing it Bhagavad Gita online. Anyone can purchase. Anyone can click a link and attend the class. So Krishna is open to everyone, but not everyone can understand it. Okay, so that is why Krishna, this Vedic knowledge is revealed in this beautiful land of India. We are so fortunate. Earlier, the whole, up till Parikshit Maharaj, this thing was under one emperor. Okay, so this Vedic knowledge was there everywhere. So everyone had access. But as the sinful activities, as people, I'm born in a place where I can't even hear the name of Krishna. I can't even hear. See, look at this Afghanistan. We know that they've blasted those Bamiyan Buddhas. So we know that the Buddhas, so Buddhism was there. Earlier to that, Hinduism was there, right? But if you remove all traces, the last temple, the priest is clinging on to the deities and he says, no, I'll not leave the deities in Afghanistan. One day that temple will also be destroyed, right? So that the whole trace is lost, right? So that is it, so it's not that Krishna is not there. He is there, he was there. But when I don't want him, when I can't understand him, that knowledge is hidden. Krishna is very, very secretive. Krishna is not cheap, okay? So you need a certain class of people to understand. And it is not that we Indians, even in India, people don't get it, right? And people in the West are also getting it. So it's not that. So when our pious activities, when our papas are over, then Krishna is visible. Because otherwise, like Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra heard Bhagavad Gita. He didn't understand, right? So that is the thing. Yeah.
Mataji, one more last question.
Huh.
Yes, Mataji. Why Krishna chose only Arjuna to share Gita knowledge and not other Pandavas?
Because Arjuna is the purest. Arjuna is the purest. That's why. And that's why, we can't. And later on, we do understand how the Pandavas are spotless, but of all of them, Pandavas, Arjuna. So Krishna, he says, in his different, he tells in his opulences, he says, I am amongst the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Okay, so Arjuna is the dearmost because he's the purest.
Yes, Mataji, we have finished with
so we'll wind up for today, and again we start tomorrow. And thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So I'll end the meeting.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.